Greetings and welcome everyone to an All You Can Geek Gamecast. I'm one of your hosts, Jim Gast, joined by Mike Sneedy,
What's up?
Corey Feinsod,
Ahoy.
and Tony Kokonakis.
Happy Thanksgiving if you're in America.
Happy Thanksgiving, guys. Happy Thanksgiving, listeners and viewers. We are live right now on Twitch, Tuesday nights at 8 o'clock. If you missed the broadcast, all the stuff's over on YouTube. If you're watching this on YouTube, smash that subscribe button, leave us a comment, and a like. We'd appreciate it. That helps us out. Gamecast, guys. Just like I said, it's just before Thanksgiving. There's a lot of Black Friday stuff going on.
Good stuff out there.
There's some good stuff.
Sale, games on sale.
I picked up a game I probably shouldn't have yet, but I did because I had a gift card and it was super cheap. So I got Metaphor.
Nice. So did I.
So Metaphor for $50 plus the $25 gift card I had already sitting there. I'm like,
Can't beat that.
that's it.
Game over, man. Might as well.
So got that waiting. So yeah, guys. So what have we been up to then? Have we been playing anything? Tony, kick us off.
Yeah, so I made a mistake because Arcane, watching that, messed up my sleep schedule because I wanted to watch it right away because I didn't want to risk getting spoiled somehow.
Spoilers, man.
Yeah.
Twitter's just
They've been
ridiculous.
so bad lately. But even like Discords and stuff, like I just don't want like some troll being like an at everyone or at me and being like, oh, guess what this happened, because like that's my fear. So anyway, my sleep schedule was messed up. So the one night I was like, I just want to like lay down in bed and play something, but my Switch was in the other room and I was like seriously just lazy to get up. So I'm on my phone. I was like, wait, Balatro's on mobile now, and I was like, I looked at it. I was like, $10. I was like, sure, whatever. It's fucking $10. And
Apple Arcade.
what was that?
It's on Apple Arcade.
Yeah. How much is that?
Yeah, it's Apple Arcade's just per month. So I just pay.
Yeah. How much is that per month?
I pay a big pack for a family pack, so I pay.
Yeah, I'm sure if I did a bundle or whatever, I could. But I was like $10, whatever. I'll just give it to the guy.
Yeah.
Like, it's a single dev, so like him getting my $7 out of the 10, I'm happy with that.
I can't. Totally worth it. So
Yeah.
go on.
But anyway, so like I'm like, oh okay. And just to note for listeners, like I love roguelikes and I love card games, and I would say like if I was more invested in poker, I would love it, but I just like it. But two loves and a like equals like kind of addicting, right? Because the next thing I knew, I had played like a couple runs in bed, and I looked up and like the sun was rising. I was like, no. I was like, what? And I was like, the thing is, when you play a game on your phone and you're like using the phone as your clock / watch all the time, I was like, I've been playing for 2 hours. Like, what the
lose track of time.
fuck,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, and it's funny because like I hate mobile gaming. I absolutely despise mobile gaming. But one of the few things that has me kept coming to mobile gaming was card games, like whether it was Hearthstone or Magic Arena or Marvel Snap for a while, and now Balatro, because like I just love card games. Like we're just like, oh, I want to maximize this, I want to maximize that, I want to edit my deck, I want to get an engine going, and that's what this is, and it's fantastic. It reminds me of Slay the Spire, if anybody has played that, which I also love and recommend.
I have to check that out now. You mentioned it so much last week. I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yeah, like on it's so fun. And if you like Balatro, it's like that, but it's more like fantasy RPG-ish, where it's like, hey, like you have the warrior, you have the rogue, and you have the magician, and they all have their own unique cards and stuff like that, and it's just really fun. But Balatro is really good too, because it's just like, hey, you know the rules of poker. These hands are better than these hands, and this is how you score points, right? And once you understand that, and they start throwing those jokers at you, or the tarot cards, or the, what's the other type I'm missing?
The
planetary ones to increase the values. Like, I'm just like, it's like galaxy brain, just like holy shit, right? And that's to me is the thing that's like, oh, one more run, right? Where I'm just like, I unlock a deck or like whatever the starting parameters are, and it's like, that's interesting. I like that, right? So because like I think the first one you get is like you get an extra discard. That's whatever. And then I got, oh, you get an extra hand to play. And I'm like, well, that's powerful as hell, because like you could score a lot of points in one hand. And then I got one that was like, oh, your deck is just hearts and spades or something. I'm like, what? Like there are jokers I know that I could exploit for that, right? And it's just been fun. And like I'm like, oh, I just need this one joker. I just need this one joker to like just blow this entire build I have going off. And it's been great. And it's literally just in like this past weekend, like I went to the doctor's the other day and was waiting an hour, and I would have been pissed if I was just scrolling or whatever on the internet, but I'm just like, just Balatro, just like going like this, and I'm just like, oh shit, like it's time to go and stuff like that. Or even I went out to do some errands and shopping today for Thanksgiving, and during lunch I was just like eating. I was just like,
It's just whenever you have time for a run.
So I get it. I totally get it. I don't
in the middle
know
of one right now.
Yeah, I don't know about game of the year, but is absolutely a game you should play if you like poker and or deck building card games or roguelikes.
I mean, I absolutely understand the nomination.
Yeah, I understand. 100%.
Yeah, absolutely do. Yeah, I mean, it's probably going to be in my of the year if I'm paying this much.
Yeah.
But it deserves to be on the list. But it won't be winning game of the year. But it's so.
It
awesome.
deserves to be recognized for sure. 100%.
Absolutely.
And I think there's a free demo too. So I mean, it's on all the systems. I think now ?
I think isn't Apple Arcade just by itself? I think there's so many trials out there, anyways, to get Apple Arcade Plus for a month. You can try it that way, or I think it's like $7 a month for Apple Arcade, $6.99. So you can do it that way too if you want to, or you can just buy it for $10 because it's a good game. So, and it's on all the other systems too, and I think it's $19.99 on the other systems, if I remember right. So.
Yeah.
I don't know. If you have a game system, you can play it there. But it's really good. Again, it's probably best on mobile just because of the ease of access and just pop it in whenever you want and go. It is a little bit lengthy though for that because, like I said, I'm in the middle of a run. You can't just
That is my one
track of time. So
that
fast.
is my one criticism because like I enjoyed it the first couple times where I'm just like, oh, it kind of shows you how it maps out, right? It's like, plus and multiplier, plus and multiplier, plus and multiplier. But I'm to the point now where I'm like, please, just go through this very quickly. Like, because the one thing, it was like every card I had triggered like 2 separate jokers. I'm just like...
And chips.
Bro, I'm just like, please, like, do fast forward or something where I'm just like, I know I'm getting like 100,000 points off of this. Just fucking give me the number. Do it.
I was scoring like 55 on one hand, and I'm like, I just had a full conversation with Amanda while I was scoring. I was just like, and she's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm playing a game, but I'm waiting.
Yeah, I think
I listened to your podcast because I missed it last week, and you guys were talking about it last week a little bit, and I was like, I want to chime in so much because I'm very curious. I know I'm very curious to what I said about it on our podcasts because I didn't like it at all.
Oh, really?
I bounced off of it, and I know I talked about it on the podcast back in March or whatever.
This is where I heard it. I heard of it.
Right. I remember you talking about it now, but since I didn't play, I couldn't relate. But now I'm like, okay.
Yeah, no, and I was like, because I think I think it's because I was playing poker every weekend, like for 8 hours.
Yeah, I could see that. Because I was trying,
and so like, I did not want to be doing this. I wanted to be playing poker. I was like, this is not what I'm looking for right now.
100%. Because I tried to even show my brother. I was like, oh, you should try this, and like I'm showing him. He's like, I just play real poker. I'm like, shut the fuck up. This is a video game. He's like, well, I just play real poker if I want to play poker. I'm like, no, this is playing a video game. It's just poker themed, you asshole. Like what? You're gonna be like, oh, I don't want to play Madden because I'll just go play football for real life. It's like, what? Like, what is this argument? I don't understand it. But
no, I think that's why it's just the timing of it. It's like, oh, cool, poker. I can play more poker while I'm not playing poker. But then because it wasn't real poker, it threw me off a little bit, I guess. Because I think I played an hour of it, and I was just like, it's not.
No, I would say like the first hour is very similar to all these other roguelikes. Where it's like the first hour, it's really just gently easing you into like, hey, this is an ace of spades, and this is a jack of hearts.
Yeah,
those are two different suits. Suits, right? And it's like, but the thing is, after you unlock a couple decks and a couple different things, it blows it all out of the water. Like I would even hesitate to call it poker after a couple things you unlock because I'm just like, I've gotten to the thing where it's just like I've had five of a kind, or it's like I had my multiplier
because you have all the different cards that you're adding into your deck.
Yeah, exactly.
And stuff like that. Sure.
Yeah.
Like I played a pair and got like 200,000 points off of like fucking Jack or something. I'm like, what? Like, how?
Yeah, my flush draws are so high level right now in this run that I've got going on. I'm like, it's all. I'm going all or nothing on flushes right now. That's what's happening.
Yeah.
So,
Might have to go back. Once I saw it was on the game of the year, it's like, do I have to go back to this game?
Definitely go back. Give it another hour or so, and like,
let's see.
Yeah, but I will say
it plays well on Steam Deck too. Like I talk about like mobile access to it because it's such an that was like when I was playing it too. I was like, this is definitely a phone game for sure. Like it would be great on phone. But then it came out. Good for them.
But it was really funny, Joe, because like I had a flush run too once, and I just got totally hosed by this one boss. Because the boss always gives you like a parameter. It's like, like it's a negative attribute, right? Or it could be like, every card you play, you lose $1 or something like that. Or this one was like literally like, hearts are, what is it? What's the word they use? Blanks, basically. I'm like, no. Yeah. No. Like that's half my deck. Because it was the deck I was running where it was like hearts and spades or whatever. I'm like, that's half my deck. I can't do this anymore. Like you just destroyed me. I was like,
there's one that prevents you playing a type of hand or something like that.
Yep.
So you have to keep an eye on that. So
yeah, I got that in a different run where it's like you can't
that I
repeat
messed up
hands
on.
against it, and
Yes.
I was like, I built a fucking straight deck, and I was like, I can't not like my pairs and my 3 of a kinds are gonna be shit. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, so I know that's coming, so I'm trying to level up other things, but I'm like, my strength right now is flush. If I don't get that run, if I don't get it, I'm gonna go pretty far.
If I don't get
yeah, again, like you said, the roguelike part of it, guys, you don't know. You might get it, you might not.
Yeah, exactly.
So maybe I'm gonna have an easy mode run. Who knows? All right, anything else, Tony?
No, that's it.
All right, Corey, anything for you? I know you've been.
Yeah, I mean, bit metaphor. What sucked though is I lost 2 hours of game to the save issue.
Like a game issue, or like you didn't save, or like.
Well, no, it was so like there was an issue with my Steam Deck, and so I had, and I lost 2 hours. I was like, oh, and so it's like it just was so deflating.
Oh, deflating. Yeah, I know where you're at, man. I know where you're at. Shit, I'm sorry,
like,
man.
Oh man, so it's just like, oh man,
it's gonna stink for a little bit.
Yeah, so I haven't gone back to it since then because
that's usually what happens. You take a week off usually on that because it's just like it hurts. It hurts. Yeah.
So I was just one of those your stomach drops and you're like, no, it's not there. It's like what's happened? What's happened? So like I was going through the whole system files for it and stuff, and I don't know what happened, but yeah. So, but yeah, just been doing that, and obviously, I've just been watching Arcane. Like I actually rewatched it again.
I already rewatched the last act too.
Wow.
You know, there's like some moments. It's like, and Bess, this is so cool. Anyway, we gotta get
cool. All right, Mike, what have you been playing?
Well, speaking of roguelites, I went back to
the Turtle game,
Splintered Fate. Yeah, the Turtles game, because they introduced the update that increased the frequency of the highest level upgrades, which you very rarely get. My one issue with this game is the runs are pretty short normally, especially when you get good. You can beat them in like a half hour, and you don't get to like.
So there's like no endless mode. It's
that's weird.
No, you don't go over and over. I feel like the game wouldn't be able to handle like going over and over. You stop when you do the run. Yeah, you're back at the lair. You get a streak that it keeps track of, but
yeah, like how many wins you get. Yeah,
you don't really get anything for that. Also, I lost some progress in this game for some reason too. Probably tied to this update. I lost a fair bit of the meta progression. Now I didn't care because I was broken. Last time I played it, I had like 10 wins already. But the main reason why I came back is because the update added matchmaking even on Switch. So I'm like, all right, I can finally play like with randos, 4-player online, and go through runs with 4 turtles, which will be fun. And it's normally fun. There's definitely some lag here and there, but the lack of the ability to communicate does get a little annoying on the Switch, because sometimes people just are in menus forever for no good reason, or you're wondering what they're doing, and sometimes you would like to coordinate what your upgrades are, but you can't in this mode. But it's still fun. I really like that game. It's flawed, obviously, in a lot of ways, but I'd like to. I think it's getting more updates and even new characters.
Yeah, I think it did well.
Future, so.
Last I heard.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to seeing the future for that game. And then the other thing I played was Game Pass suggested. I think Jim, you've played this. I don't know if anyone else had. Is South Park, the Fractured But Whole.
Yeah, I love those games.
That's
I didn't play the newest one.
Isn't that like 6 years old or something now?
Yeah,
7?
Pretty old.
Yeah. It's decently old because
RPG though. Mike's playing an RPG.
No, that's
PS4,
true.
right? PS4 days.
I fully embrace this because Mike's playing an RPG. So let's go. Let's go.
No, I mean it feels a little bare bones, that side of it, that the actual combat.
Yeah, that was my gripe back then. It was just very basic. Yeah.
But it's I'm 10 hours in already, but it took me that long to get to a part where I needed to actually use items. I'm playing on medium. I'm not on the highest difficulty, but
black.
Yeah.
I don't think that's real, honestly. There's like a combat thing later.
I thought that was the whole
you could do.
thing, wasn't
I
it?
don't
Like,
remember.
like isn't it like the darker
presented-
you put your skin?
It's presented that way.
Oh, okay.
But I think it's just a joke, honestly.
I don't know. That's what I
combat-
thought. But anyway,
Combat is separate, but
this is like Paper Mario,
I'm-
right, Jim?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Very much so. Yeah.
But no, I like it.
It's like literally a clone of Paper Mario. Actually, it's very much so. Yeah. Yeah.
I like it. It's funny because like some of it is funny, but I don't know what it is. Like it's not as funny as I thought it might be to me. But
Could just
It's
be getting
got-
older
It's
too.
got some humor, but yeah. So
yeah.
I don't know. I
mean,
will tell you, the sequel was fine. The Stick of Truth was fine, but then that latest one I've heard was garbage, and I didn't touch that.
Stick
one.
of Truth was the
The
first
one.
one.
Stick of
Oh,
Truth
this
is
is
the
the,
first
this is
one.
the second one.
This
You're
is
right,
the
you're right. This is the Marvel
Yeah.
one. This is the Marvel
This
Avengers.
is the
one. Yes,
superhero
Yeah, yeah.
one.
Superhero.
Honestly,
Yeah.
Marvel.
Yeah.
It's superheroes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, superhero
Yeah,
one.
no.
Yes, sorry, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Fully brainwashed it. But yes.
yeah, my fault. But
No, I like it though, but
okay.
we'll see how it goes in the second half. I think it's probably about a 20-hour game, right?
Man, out of all the stuff on Game
Yeah.
Pass, you could play like Game of the Year stuff. Resident Evil 2, Persona 3. I don't understand. Like, you could just give it a try, man. Like, it doesn't cost you
If you're
anything.
gonna play an RPG, but no, it's cool. Stick of
No,
Truth.
I mean, listen, this was a game that it's a perfect Game Pass game for me. I was like, I would play that if it was like in front of me, but I'm not gonna go out of my way to play it. And that's how I was.
Yeah, I'm not saying
so
like it's not, but
here it
like,
is.
like for being the only advocate for Game Pass here, it is astounding to me that there are like Game of the Year candidates. You're like, yeah, I'm not even gonna try. Like, I'm just not even gonna try.
Because I know I
Too much of
don't
an
particularly
investment.
want to play them.
Why? Like, but you would have said the same thing about Yakuza like 15 years ago, and look, you love that series. So I don't understand.
Well, I mean, I knew it was Sega, and I knew that it was gonna be like an actiony. Like, I thought it would be something like a Japanese GTA, which it really isn't. But I knew there was something. There was a chance there was something I would like in it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
So, I
Okay.
don't know.
All right, let's
Whatever.
move over to the
I like
news.
this one.
No, I know it's good. It's just
Like I said, it's
curious.
good. It's just, yeah. He's slowly dipping his toes into RPGs.
Listen,
What's gonna
like,
happen?
It's funny.
Persona's next, Mike. That's happening. We're gonna get him into Persona. I think it's right up your alley.
See, here's the thing. I've
Now.
considered them on Game Pass though, but they don't stay on Game Pass long enough to get through them. Practically, I know they're long games, and they come and go so quick on Game Pass. The Persona games, so
Yeah.
5 Royal was on there for a while. It was on there for like a whole year.
it was on there for like a summer. I felt like
No,
gone
it was
after
on there
that.
for almost a whole year.
Yeah.
I don't pay attention. I have no idea.
There's a lot to the game itself, like the strategy involved in that game, Mike. I think it would be a good RPG to play for you. Like the story's great, and there's how far do I want to drive my characters here? Do I want to keep going or take it? You know, how safe do I want to play it? There's like that whole aspect of things I loved about Persona 5, that I think you would like that. So if it gets back on Game Pass, I know.
Well,
yeah,
3
it
Reload is on there, and that's
yeah,
my
3 is
favorite.
on there, and that's everybody else. Like I've not played that one to give you that amount. Like I played
I know.
4 and 5. Yeah, 4 and 5. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so,
We'll see.
yeah, so-
Again, it's that anime aesthetic that I don't love. So we'll
yeah,
see.
and Churro chimed in as well. Yeah, Persona 5 Royale is digestible, shorter. So yeah. So you might like I'd love to hear your feedback on it. Like I think you'd get into it.
Like if you just try, like that's what I'm saying. Is try, I'm not saying you have to beat obviously. That's a 50, 60 hour commitment. But it's like
Well, I'm not gonna. Well,
Can you imagine him like 100%ing it though? Because there's so much to do that game, like to replay it all. Like it's to get the full story. Like it's a lot of hours, Mike. It's a lot of hours.
yeah,
So.
I'm not looking for that right now.
Yeah.
There's stuff I'm looking forward to.
well, yeah. I mean, 5 Royale, absolutely. I would not recommend somebody try, but 3 Reload is reasonable.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. 3. So
Or
All right,
already
let's get
2. I
into
mean,
news.
that's fucking short as hell. You could beat that in a weekend.
What
Yeah.
is it?
Resident Evil 2 remake. You loved Alan Wake.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
I know, but that's a totally different vibe. I don't like
They're both horror.
zombies.
Zombies are only in the first part. Spoiler alert. Just saying, if that's your holdup.
Let's talk news. Go to the MPD here first. We got the numbers for the October 2024 NPD. All right, what is it called now? Circana. Call of Duty Black Ops 6 was October's best-selling video game, debuting as
Surprise.
the number. What's that?
Surprise, shock.
Yeah, debuting as the number 3 best-selling game of 2024 year to date. Over each title's first 2 weeks in the market, full game dollar sales. Yeah, full game dollar sales.
Why I played it.
23% higher than Modern Warfare 3 a year ago.
I mean, it's supposedly a much better game.
But look, Mike played it. Like you got a lot of new accounts.
Is good. It's good.
Yeah, I want to play it. PlayStation platforms accounted for 82% of call. What's that?
Yeah, it makes sense. Game Pass.
Yeah, PlayStation 80% of Call of Duty's total console full game dollar sales because of Game Pass. Yeah, 82% though for PS5. That's to make it number 1 on the list. It's amazing to see that. After just 1 month in the market, though, this is even better news. Dragon Ball Z Sparking Zero became the best-selling Dragon Ball game in the U.S. lifetime dollar sales and ranked 3rd among Bandai Namco's published titles in history, trailing only Elden Ring and Dark Souls 3. So Dragon Ball, there's another blurb about that. It's actually becoming the best-selling DBZ game ever in a single month. So that's like it's going to be like the best-selling DBZ game ever. Is unbelievable. But this is the kind of game that I want to try, but like I don't think I'm gonna enjoy it. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. Like it seems like
the Budokai games back in the day.
What's that?
The Budokai?
Yeah,
I remember those, right? I mean, this is supposed to be like the spiritual successor to that.
I know, but I'm like, I've seen so many people like post about like just the ridiculousness of like, just like the Vegeta, Ape Vegeta one. I'm just like crushes you in one blow, and just like I don't know if I want to get into that game.
You're an Elden Lord, though. Come on.
Yeah,
Elden Lord doesn't back down from anything.
Yeah, seriously, dude.
I don't know. Vegeta as an ape. That's a lot of power. That's a lot of power level. No, I don't know. I'd probably give it a try. If I find it at the right price.
I mean, I'm interested in this game, but not at full. Like this is probably half. Yeah. If this were on sale for $40 this Black Friday, I'd probably pick it up. But
yeah. Silent Hill 2 debuted as the number 2 best-selling Silent Hill game in lifetime dollar sales, trailing only the original Silent Hill 2. It ranked 3rd among all video games in October, full game dollar sales, and at 28 for the 2024 year-to-date period. So
that's fantastic. I'm happy to hear that because I was worried about how that would sell, and it deserves it and that much more. I wish this were actually nominated over Shadows of the Erd Tree, but
that's what we talked about last week. Corey, what did you think of that, by the way?
No, I totally agree that a game of the year cannot be dependent on a game that came out prior to this year.
Yeah.
You can't play this game without having to have bought a game that came out prior to this year. If you want to say, like you guys mentioned, Miles Morales or Lost, whatever, Legacy, yeah. If you want to call those games of the year, sure, because you can play them on their own.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like DLC can't be played on its own, cannot win game of the year. There's no way. That's unacceptable.
Yeah. We talked about it. This was a bullshit category.
It's like
the worst part is
create best DLC, like you guys mentioned. Just create a category called best DLC or best add-on or best something extra content, like whatever you want to call it. Make a category so that thing can win it, but you can't have a game of the year that you can't play unless you buy a different game.
Sure. Charles right. DLC of the year, perfect. Do it. That's it. Make a deal if you want to do. If you want to recognize DLC, which I don't know why, because we talked about the tie-ins, and I mean 30% for. By the way, I'm going to tie this in real quick with the other news. 30% for Phantom Liberty tie-in is like that's amazing for a DLC. So it's like how many people play DLC in general, anyways? It's like how do you nominate that for a game of the year? You know what I'm saying? I'm not. It's just
it doesn't. If you have to buy a game to play this other content, that you can't. It's got to be disqualified. It does not make any sense.
That's it.
It's not a standalone title. Right. You can't play it. It should not be.
If it was a standalone thing where it's like, oh yeah, if you want to just play this by itself and you didn't have to buy the game, sure, absolutely.
Right. It's not even like you have to own the base game to access it. It's you have to own the game and play through it at least halfway. It's like, bro, like what are you doing? Like, yeah, you should play that awesome game of the year, Shadow of the Erdtree. Oh, really? Okay.
This game was the game of the year.
You
Can
have to
I
spend,
play it now?
yeah.
Like, no.
No.
We cannot.
Beat the fucking game
that's
first,
ridiculous.
asshole.
Yep. No.
That is absolutely
that's really
ridiculous. Unacceptable, in my opinion.
I agree. So, all right. The rest of this list looks awesome, by the way. I'm going to read this Circana list here. So you got all new in the top 10 pretty much except for Madden. So Call of Duty, which is not, it's a yearly thing, but Dragon Ball at number 2, Silent Hill 2 at number 3, Undisputed at number 4, Metaphor at number 5, Dragon Age The Veilguard at number 6 for sales. Good for them. Super Mario Party Jamboree, which is at number 7 and not including digital. Madden, Sonic Cross Shadow Generations, another new release in number 9. And then EA Sports FC 25, which was number 1 last month, down to number 10. So great month for new releases. Excellent month. So it's got to be best month of the year for new releases.
Probably,
right?
Yeah,
I don't remember seeing a list like this. Yeah.
Nope.
Excellent. So good for them. All right. What do we got here? Sony in the early stages. This is coming from Bloomberg. Sony are in the early stages of developing a portable console that would play PlayStation 5 games on the move. This is not the PS Portal. This is like an actual portable PlayStation 5 we're talking about here.
And you talk about the Portal being able to have its own subscription without needing the PS5 now.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it's that unit is more of a secondary screen, right? So it's like this will be an actual piece of hardware.
Well, apparently you can also get like that whatever Game Pass version PlayStation has and stream games to your Portal from online as well now.
There's a way to do it, but this will be like an actual dedicated PS5, which is a different thing for streaming. Not streaming. Not streaming.
For playing games. It's like the Steam Deck to your
correct.
Sony
PlayStation.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. That's dumb.
It's ways off. We heard Microsoft was doing one as well.
The problem, I think, is the Portal did way better than they thought that it was going to do. It's way better than I thought it was going to do. I think they're like, ooh, maybe there is a market.
I think they did. I think they drank their own Kool-Aid.
This is Sony, though. We're going to get a handheld, and they're going to mention it one time, and then 4 years are going to go by, and like, hey, you remember that handheld we had? And they'll say it again.
Yeah, and
another
BioShock's
4 years
to
will
it,
go by.
guys.
The Vita hits notoriously.
We're finally getting that BioShock PSP.
Yeah. The PSP, the Vita, all those were great little pieces of hardware that just they never supported. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I feel conflicted because first of all, just to set the record, we're a ways off. Like it just sounds like they're really exploring this. Yeah. So I would expect the PS6 before we even get whatever this device is going to be called, right?
Absolutely.
But the thing is, like, I don't feel it's going to get the full dedication like the PSP or full dedication, quote unquote, or the Vita got, right? Where it's just going to be like, hey. And I think Sony realized this too, right? Because we've talked about it over the past couple of years, especially this current generation, right? Where we're getting such diminishing returns, like it's getting harder and harder to sell people like, hey, you really need to upgrade your system, right? Because like so many people like didn't really upgrade a PS4 to PS5 yet, right? And a lot of that had to do with price. Can you imagine going like trying to sell people on a PS6 in another 3 years? I don't think there are many games even tapping out the PS5 right now. And just like, you want me to buy a fucking PS6? Are you serious right now? Like,
yeah, you get the same people that bought the PS5 Pro to buy the PS6 probably, and that's about it.
Yeah, exactly. So I think they see that writing on the wall in combination with, yes, I think the Portal did better than they expected, right? Where it just felt like the hardware team was like, oh, let's just come up with this experimental thing and see how it does, right? Because sometimes you just need to do that, right? Where I think they're like, well, we do this kind of as a alternate means to fulfill a niche in our hardware offering, right? Because they stopped the handheld stuff, where it's like, hey, maybe we won't sell people on a PS6, right? But maybe they're like, well, you can download your PS5 games to this device as long as you own them digitally and play them there. There's merit to that, not for me particular, but I'm sure there are people out there who are heavy on a PS digital ecosystem and would like to play that portably without needing the streaming component aspect of it. So, but I'm hesitant. I don't think it's going to be a PSP or Vita thing where it's like, hey, we're releasing original titles for this device. Like, it's just going to be like, hey, we have to adjust settings, just like the Steam Deck does for, Steam games.
Yep. Yeah. That's probably what it'll end up being, but we'll see. Um, I'm reading the Humanoid Origin post from Tony. You posted this. Was this today? You posted this? You did.
Yes.
So unfortunately, it looks like they're canceling.
This is Casey Hudson's studio, by the way.
Shutting down.
Right.
Yeah.
They're
shuttering it down. The whole thing. So.
Yep.
Going to help people
like
find
3 years
employment.
worth of work or something.
3 years worth of work, and I think I posted in the Discord because there was like some early shots that they released because what they were going to do was make a sci-fi RPG, right? Kind of in the vein of Mass Effect.
Yeah.
And now they don't have the funding and they're cutting the project, and it's sad, right? Like I'm not going to try to my personal taste for Mass Effect and or BioWare and or Casey Hudson has nothing to do with the fact that sucks that all these people are out of a job, right? I think it was like a 100-man studio or something like that. Any amount is unreasonable. But the reason I posted this is like this is just showing again like the industry, even for veterans, right, that are proven successful, like leads, right?
Yeah, we were just talking about this with the Japanese the guy who left Capcom to start one of his new studios.
Oh yeah. Isano, yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
But it's just like the video game industry is in trouble right now, where you can't get this funding, right? Before COVID, or during COVID, people were happy to invest in studios, startups especially. They're like, oh yeah, you
so much money.
Yeah, you want to make a spiritual successor to whatever game you used to work on? Yeah, sure, okay. Yeah, we'll give you money for that because loans are cheap right now. Interest rates are cheap. Mm-hmm. It's not the case these days, and you could see like you have Casey Hudson, who's an industry veteran, right? 20-something years, I think. Has shipped a lot of games, right? More than most people. Very successful games, despite any personal preferences there. And it's like, hey, we want to make Mass Effect, but not Mass Effect, right? Everything in name and better, right? It's like, now they can't get investors all of a sudden? Like, that sucks, man. That's bad. Yeah. Like, that is bad for the industry. Yeah. That's a bad sign.
Absolutely.
And this is also why, to tie in with when he had like the layoffs right after the Activision acquisition, right, with Microsoft, and it's like, oh, because some people are like, oh, well, some of these people will just leave and they could start their own indie studios and stuff like that. Like, yeah, you could start it, but good luck fucking getting funding now, right? Like, like the big AAA like Sony's worried about how they're fucking funding Spider-Man 3 for $200 to $300 million. What makes you think a startup studio is going to be able to raise that kind of capital for an unproven intellectual property? It's insane. Yeah. So it just sucks, and it's the bad side to come of the next year, right? So good luck to those people. It really sucks too because it's Thanksgiving week, right? Like just imagine like 3 years working at the title. It's halfway through, right? Like I imagine they made some decent progress on that.
Close to
holidays. It's the worst time to do it, but yeah, I get it. The money's not there. What are they gonna do? They can't pay them. So
it looks promising. So it's unfortunate.
All right, other canceled things. Well, canceled. MK1 DLC appears to be canceled. Combat 3-pack and a story expansion after poor sales of the first few packs. So we talked about DLC.
It's not a good game. Is that what it was?
I mean, I remember Mike talking about it. And he never really seemed to care for it.
Depth-wise, wasn't there, right?
A lot of the Mortal Kombat or even NetherRealm fans are just not really into the direction of Mortal Kombat 1. They don't like the assists. The vanilla game sold pretty well. People gave it a try. They played through the story. I played through the story. This was my most disappointing game of that year.
Yeah,
the assists the assists that come with it. That doesn't feel like what
Mortal Kombat is.
Mortal Kombat fans want.
Like I thought it was weird too, because like I'm a Marvel guy, right? So I'm like, why are they going to Marvel? Like what? It's so weird.
Yeah,
the cameos as they call them, and so I'm not surprised. All the story expansion, I'm sure the Combat Pack 1 did well because that was the one that had both Homelander and Omni-Man. Yeah, so people wanted to see them. But after that, I don't know who we were getting.
I think they just got Ghostface in or something.
Ghostface was the last because they were just showing that
he's the new one. Yeah,
the fatality.
And people, I'm sure have enthusiasm to look up his fatalities online, but otherwise, this game is it's not it right now for the fan base. I'm not surprised that.
I forget if I
the long tail is just move on, man. Give me Injustice 3. Cancel this shit. Work on Injustice 3. Let's do it.
I forget if I posted it, but back when Evo announced their lineup, MK1 was dropped.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember we talked about that.
And that's bad for a fighter after like only in its second year, right? Because like even like Underbirth, whatever, that anime fighting game, like that's been around for a couple of years now. It's like you're telling me that and like King of Fighters can still be in the system, but Mortal Kombat 1 in its second year, like that's bad. Which I mean, not that it should be a popularity contest, but like it just means NetherRealm players aren't registering for Evo in the numbers that you need to see, right, to run the tournament.
Or supporting Mortal Kombat 1 because it's not the game that they wanted.
Right.
Yeah, no, the Mortal Kombat fans just kind of don't like this, and it shows even the people who tend to be like the good players they're basically streamers, and they need to get those casuals to watch them and care about the game.
Yeah, and they can't.
They're not. So that's just kind of how it's going for this game.
Yeah, and it sucks because like I know you. Go ahead.
No, I'm just being redundant. They just missed the mark with, their fan base.
No, I absolutely think that's what they did too. Because like, you're the biggest MK fan I know, but even like outside of that, the buzz I've gotten from like Discord groups I'm in, like nobody's like excited. Like you said, like new characters get posted, their fatalities get posted, and like that's it. People just are like, oh, okay, cool, whatever, and it just like moves on. But it just sucks because like I know you wanted Justice 3, but I think WB/Zaslav doesn't want them to do that because, and I think we reported this a couple weeks ago or months ago that WB
but that is a DC mainly Batman game.
What is?
It falls with Injustice. It falls within that umbrella that he said. So.
No, I get that, but I'm just saying. So like, a couple weeks / month, time is a paradox. Zaslav was saying how they're trying to sell, or they'd be open to another thing with acquisition or partnership or whatever. Do you guys remember what I'm talking about or no?
Yeah. They were looking to sell off a lot of their studios or properties.
Right. Which prime would be NetherRealm Studios is one of the successful developers. But the thing is like
the licensing,
right?
Right.
So like if NetherRealm's in the middle of developing Injustice 3 and they get sold, that's bad for whoever's buying them.
Well, they couldn't, right?
They couldn't, right? Because it's like, oh, well, we don't have rights to
just
DC.
Basically just lose all that money that you sunk into that. And,
exactly. So
yeah, that's probably why they went to Mortal Kombat 1 initially too, because they were hoping to get rid of it and they didn't have to worry about the licensing and all that other stuff with the DC characters.
Yeah, because I don't think there are DC characters this time around, right? In the DLC.
No, no, Omni-Man and
Joker was in the last one, right?
Yeah,
it's the other thing. They released 2 Mortal Kombats back to back. They bleed together for me a little bit. Yeah, no DC characters this time. Although there is obviously a lot of other licensed characters all over the place as guest characters, but
yeah. All right, a couple more things here. Ubisoft. We talked about them. Talk about them with Star Wars Outlaws. One of my biggest criticisms of the game was the freedom of the game. It looks like the latest update, which I think is out now, has removed basically force stealth from all quest objectives.
You did it, Jim.
I did it. It's all me. I guess I have a lot of power in this industry. No, it was clearly a big problem with this game, and I for one am happy that I beta tested it for them. You're welcome, Ubisoft, to let them know that was a problem. But I'm glad they removed it but I don't know what it's going to get with sales. Like, what is that going to help them I don't know. But I can tell you that was my biggest gripe with the game was the forced stealth was just frustrating to go and do. So to not have to have that restriction, you can play the game the way you want to play it, opens up a lot of the game. So that's a good thing for it. Just wish it was.
It's so surprising that was a thing in the first place.
I was shocked. I was shocked it was there, and so like I'm happy to see it go. And
did Assassin's Creed ever have that kind of like forced stealth, like auto fail,
Mike
thing?
I'm trying to remember.
I don't know.
There
might have been. I played, but there might be sections.
There might have been very specific things.
Okay.
But
not really.
No.
Okay.
Not in like the open areas or anything. There might have been like
that's such a weird design choice. But
it was weird mixed into this kind of game. But I understand what they were trying to do is like make it different, but it just you can't make an open world game like this and force people into a play style. You know what I mean? Like you can't do it.
I mean, it's good that they're fixing it at least. Better late than never. I'll just play it next year. No reason to play it right now.
Yeah, it's on sale. It's $50 now, I think.
Not good enough.
Still too high.
Still too.
It needs to be 30.
Price is too damn high.
I know. Yeah.
I will sub to Ubisoft whatever for a month and play it.
Nope,
right.
doesn't sound like you need that much time.
Nope. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's only 20 hours or so, Jim, you said?
It was about, it's like 18. Yeah. You can probably play the game for about 30 total if you do everything. I'm thinking like 25, 30. Yeah. So, I mean, 18 is a good playthrough too.
No, that's fine.
I didn't do like
good.
everything, but I played some of the side stuff, so I, got some of the world. But lastly in news, Shuhei Yoshida, former president of all of Sony, who stepped down 2019?
Something like that. A couple years ago, yeah.
A couple years ago, he stepped down and still worked in Sony Entertainment, but is officially leaving PlayStation on January 15th of 2025. He's a very famous guy. He's a very jovial dude.
Yeah, jovial.
They really used a lot of him for the PS4 marketing campaign, like interviews.
He's the guy that hands the other guy.
Yeah, he's the Japanese guy. He's like, this is how you share games.
Yeah. I think he's a great face for Sony to have. Like, I think he's a great.
No, he was great.
I'm
surprised by this, honestly. Like,
he's not leaving the industry. He's leaving Sony, like PlayStation,
which is weird to me because it's like, I mean, this guy's been in the industry forever, right? Like since original PlayStation. Like, he helped launch like Gran Turismo, Ape Escape, Legend of Dragoon, a lot of the other Sony, things. And then later on, after he stepped down for president, I mean, he was working on initiatives to reach out to like indies and other startup third-party companies. And
he was a big part of like that PlayStation 4 indie push.
Yeah, he was. Yeah. He was the only one pushing for it, right? So it's really weird that he's leaving. I mean, I read a snippet of the interview. He's like, "Yeah, I've been here for 31 years, and I feel like Sony and SCE is in a good state right now, and it's time for me to move on." But I'm just like, do you just move on after 30 years at the company?
Do we get the famous? Do we get a famous Shuhei and Reggie team up coming up?
Oh man,
it's possible.
I mean, that'd be fun. That'd be fun to see.
Honestly, though,
just don't let Spencer into that.
No, fuck Spencer.
I'm seriously though, I'm wondering, like, are things changing in the Japanese corporate structure? Like, is because we've seen this happen a couple times now with them. Like,
I mean, SCE is not Japanese anymore. It's not Japanese. Jim Ryan took care of that.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So maybe it's just. I'm just saying, like,
European now. Really, it's right. They have a headquarters in Europe.
No, it's in America now. I thought
it's in America.
All of it.
Oh. Well, they have headquarters other places, but everything goes through one spot, which is in America. Yeah. They realign themselves with that, but like I feel like this is happening more and more in the Japanese industry. Like right now with that, we talked about it with Capcom. We just talked about this about like why somebody would leave a company, because it doesn't happen usually in Japan. You're with a company. You're with a company.
Yeah.
It just seems to be maybe it's just timing, coincidence, possibly. I just find it. Maybe I'm seeing some conspiracy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's certainly worth a discussion. What I would imagine, right, is just listening to Jason Schreier's last book, right, about Blizzard.
Yeah. About
how, and this is blanket to the entire industry, really, but like listening to that book in the audible format, audiobook format, kind of highlights how the fact that like if you're a dev or a lead dev on a AAA game, right, say Mass Effect or Dragon Age or World of Warcraft, whatever, Diablo, whatever the hell it was, right? Yeah, you'll be treated like kind of like a rock star, right? It's like, oh yeah, this is Casey Hudson, or this is whatever from whatever company, right? Neil Druckmann from Naughty Dog, stuff like that. Yeah, like you're a rock star. Don't get me wrong, right? You got that fame and infamy, and I'm sure you're getting paid a really good price, right, by your employer, Sony and stuff like that. But at what point do you be like, shit, I'm making a series or a franchise that sells 20, 30, 40, 50 million copies? I'm not seeing royalties off of that, right?
Yeah.
And like, can you imagine the movie industry being like that? Like, can you imagine Christopher Nolan doing a movie not having the royalty rights that he does and stuff? No.
That's where all those stars make. That's what they make their money is royalties. Like,
yeah,
they make a ton of money on royalties for things.
Right, the profit sharing and stuff like that. So like, I think the Japanese, the younger, or at least our age or a little older, are realizing, like, if I could just do what I already did, and I know how to do this, and have more creative control over it and or profit sharing, why am I not doing that, right?
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. I'm not saying definitively, but like, it's hard to say. Like, honestly, could you be like, yeah, I made this IP, fucking sells 50 million copies, and you're still just a salary employee? Like, come on, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
So I get it, and that could be it.
Like I don't know. Just to know, like Sakurai, right? Masahiro Sakurai, who makes the Smash Brothers games, he doesn't work for Nintendo. He works for himself under Sora, the company, and Nintendo hires him as a contractor, right? So whatever he gets paid is fucking boku bucks, because it's like he's not an employee, he's a contractor, developer. And that's why he could afford us. Like, I don't know if you guys remember me talking about this isn't a tangent, but he did that video series of like his tips on video games, like all the stuff he's learned. He did it for like 2 or 3 years. So that just ended in the last like month or two. And his last video, he actually broke it down. He's like, this is very unusual for me to do this because you don't see this kind of stuff being talked about in the industry, but I felt it was important to do. He's like, this is how much this channel cost me. He broke it down. He's like, I paid for this all out of pocket. Like, the thing is, like, he hired a studio to edit. He hired a studio to do like animations, do clips for footage of like things he was referencing in games and stuff like that.
B-roll.
Yeah, and all this stuff. He's like, I had this much budget in mind, and it wound up being like double that. And it was like, when it was all said and done, I think it was like $700,000 that he just spent to make this video channel.
Wow.
And the only reason you would never afford that as a salary man, right? As a yearly salary. So like, he must have been getting paid huge royalties from the Smash Brothers games with Nintendo. So
yeah,
it's my little thing there.
All right, guys. I think it's going to wrap up this episode of the Gamecast. So thanks for tuning in once again. We are live on Twitch Tuesday nights at 8 o'clock. Please join us for these broadcasts. If you can't join us live, though, YouTube houses it all. So go over there, subscribe so you get notified when we go live or when we post over there. So subscribe to both channels. Leave us a comment. Give us a like. We appreciate it, guys. We'll see you next week. Have a nice Thanksgiving. We are out.